The galactic arena hummed with the excited chatter of 1,000 different species, their various forms of communication, creating a symphony of clicks, growls, harmonics, and electromagnetic pulses that the universal translators struggled to parse. In the VIP section, Ambassador Zekthul of the Hegemony adjusted his ceremonial carapace and observed the human delegation with poorly concealed disdain. "This is unprecedented," he chittered to his aide. "A species barely 50 cycles into galactic civilization, and they dare to send a representative to the grand tournament?" The aide, a younger Hegemony noble, fluttered his wing casings nervously. "The humans insisted, Your Excellence. Something about diplomatic representation and cultural exchange." Zekthul's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his kind. Cultural exchange. They'll learn about galactic culture soon enough, specifically that there are consequences for overreach. In the preparation chambers below, Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Diplomatic Corps sat in lotus position, her breathing steady and controlled. The other competitors' preparation areas buzzed with activity, weapons being sharpened, armor being fitted, performance enhancers being administered under careful medical supervision. Sarah's chamber was notably quiet. Her handler, a nervous Altarian diplomat named Veltar, wrung his tentacles anxiously. "Captain Chen, surely you must reconsider. The rules permit any weapon of your choosing, any armor configuration. The reigning champion Grokmar of Vega Prime has never been defeated. His bone swords have—" "I know," Sarah said softly, opening her eyes. "I've studied every match recording for the past 3 years. Grokmar is impressive. So was Sisahala before him, and Mordex before her. Then why won't you accept weapons? Even light armor would—" Sarah stood, rolling her shoulders. Her attire was simple. Standard-issue military fatigues, combat boots, and nothing else. No weapons, no armor, no enhancements. "Because, Veltar, you're all thinking about this wrong." The arena floor was a marvel of engineering. A circular space 200 meters in diameter, with variable terrain that could shift during combat. Today's configuration featured rocky outcroppings, patches of different atmospheric density, and gravity wells that fluctuated between 0.5 and 2.0 standard, perfect for testing adaptability. As Sarah emerged from the competitor's tunnel, the crowd's noise reached a crescendo before dying to confused murmurs. The human looked impossibly small compared to her opponent. Grokmar stood 3 meters tall, his chitinous hide scarred from countless battles. Bone swords extended from his forearms, each one honed to molecular sharpness. His 4 eyes tracked Sarah's movement with predatory focus. "Behold!" The arena announcer's voice boomed across the stadium. "Champion Grokmar of Vega Prime, undefeated in 47 matches, faces the human challenger." Sarah walked to the center of the arena, her steps measured and calm. She bowed slightly to Grokmar, who responded with a battle roar that made several species in the audience recoil. "Combatants ready!" The announcer's voice cracked with excitement. "Begin!" Grokmar charged immediately, bone swords extended, his battle cry echoing off the arena walls. Sarah didn't move until the last possible second, then stepped aside with fluid grace. The alien champion's charge carried him past her, his weapons cutting only air. The crowd gasped. Grokmar spun with surprising agility for his size, slashing horizontally. Sarah ducked beneath the swing, then stepped inside his guard. Her hand shot out, fingers extended, striking a nerve cluster she'd identified from studying his species' anatomy. Grokmar's left arm went numb instantly. "What?" he began, but Sarah was already moving. She used his momentary confusion to leap onto a rocky outcropping, then jumped from stone to stone as Grokmar pursued. The champion was powerful, but Sarah had something he didn't. She was fighting in her natural element. Earth's gravity was 1.3 times galactic standard. Earth's atmospheric composition made most worlds feel thin and easy to her, and Earth's evolutionary pressure had created something the galaxy hadn't seen before. A persistence hunter. For the next 20 minutes, Sarah led Grokmar through an intricate dance across the arena. She used every terrain feature, every gravity well, every atmospheric variation. When he struck, she wasn't there. When she struck, it was precisely where his species was most vulnerable. She targeted nerve clusters, joint connectors, sensory organs. Never enough to cause permanent damage, the tournament had strict rules, but enough to slow him down, to frustrate him, to make him make mistakes. The crowd grew quieter as they began to understand what they were witnessing. This wasn't a battle between a warrior and an inferior opponent. This was a demonstration of what billions of years of evolution on a death world could produce when properly directed. Grokmar, breathing heavily and bleeding from a dozen small wounds, finally stopped his assault. "What manner of creature are you?" he demanded. Sarah, barely winded, smiled. "Human. You have no weapons, no armor. How are you defeating me?" "I am the weapon," Sarah replied. "My species spent millions of years learning to hunt creatures stronger, faster, and more dangerous than ourselves. We learned to think, to adapt, to outlast. Every part of my body is a weapon, my brain most of all." She demonstrated by executing a perfect takedown, using Grokmar's own momentum against him. The champion hit the ground hard, and Sarah was immediately on him, her arm around his throat in a blood choke that would render him unconscious in seconds. "Yield," she whispered. "I yield," Grokmar gasped. The arena fell silent for a heartbeat, then erupted in chaos. In the VIP section, Ambassador Zekthul stared in shock as his carefully maintained understanding of galactic power structures crumbled. "How?" his aide whispered. Zekthul watched as Sarah helped Grokmar to his feet, the two warriors showing mutual respect despite the violence that had just transpired. "I think," he said slowly, "we severely underestimated what it means to evolve on a world where everything is trying to kill you." Later, in the diplomatic reception, species representatives approached the human delegation with new respect. Sarah, now wearing a simple dress instead of her combat fatigues, accepted their congratulations with grace. Captain Chen, Zekthul, approached, his earlier arrogance replaced by genuine curiosity. "Your performance today was illuminating. Might I ask what your background is? Elite military? Special forces?" Sarah smiled. "Actually, I was a kindergarten teacher before I joined the diplomatic corps." Zekthul's translator struggled with the concept for a moment. When it finally parsed, his mandibles clicked in what might have been nervous laughter. "A teacher of small humans? That's right. You learn to be creative when you're responsible for 35-year-olds. She paused, then added thoughtfully, "Though I have to say, they're usually more challenging than today's opponent." As word of the human victory spread across the galaxy, a new understanding began to emerge. Humans hadn't joined galactic civilization despite being from a death world. They had joined it because they were from a death world, and that made them something entirely unprecedented. A species that had learned to turn every disadvantage into a weapon, every weakness into a strength. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again.